Hi there. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I make this watch pocket and the right front pocket and put it on the right front pant leg. I also hem this seam allowance that connects to the inside of the pocket bag, and initially I'm going to start out with some red construction paper, some red cardstock, and I'm going to make a template for the pocket bag, the pocket lining, and then I'll make the pocket shield, and then the watch pocket, and then I'll stitch this all together, and that's how it looks from the front, and this is how it looks from the back. So that's coming along. So that's the one thing I do. Now you'll remember that this zipper and this front leg was done in a previous video. So that is going to be as far as I go in this video, and it's just over an hour long. So there's a fair bit of construction that goes on here. Still to be done is put the front pocket on here and connect the zipper to the other front leg there. And then after, not in this video, but in the next video, I'll put the front pocket on there, and then I'll also put the back pockets on the back legs, which I may already have done. So I'll decide whether I'm going to do new back legs or do the ones that already have the back pockets on them. And at that point, I'll get the front both sides, right and left, front pants, legs, excuse me, and the left and right back legs together, and then I'll move forward from there doing the yoke and doing the inside seams on the legs and the outside seams on the legs, and I'll have the yoke on, and then it'll be the waistband and belt loops time. And at that point, the pants will pretty much be put together. All I'll have left to do is do the hem at the bottom of the pant legs. So it's finally starting to come along, and I'm really learning how to figure this stuff out. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Ciao for now. Hello. So what I've done is I've marked off a 12 by 15 square, and I put the lines on, so I'm just marking the lines on, and this is going to be my template, and then I'm going to cut it once I get it marked up, and that is going to be the template for the pocket lining. So I've made it 11 by 15. I think I made the previous ones 12 by 15, but 11 by 15 will be sufficient as well. And there is room for some adjustment because it is a pocket line and it is inside the jeans, it's interior. So there's my pocket lining template, with my hammer being used as the weight. There, so that one's done. This is the pocket shield. So this is a previous template that I had on file. So those can go out of the way for now. Then I'll go and get a pair of cloth shears. So there's the pocket lining, and there's the pocket, the denim shield, and then I'll still have to cut out a pocket, a watch pocket. So I gotta find that template. I have one kicking around here, and even if I don't find the template, I have one already made that I can measure off of. Here I've got a plastic box that says front pockets template, front and back. So we got lots of templates. That's a back. Here's a watch pocket with no seam allowance. There's one with the 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'll use this one to cut the cloth. And then once I cut the cloth this size, then I'll just fold it over on here. And I'll be able to press it. And I'll get the right things. What I have to remember is that up here, it's got to be, that's a 1/2 inch, so it's got to be 1.5 inches up here. There's some that I've already was practicing on, using the cotton pocket lining with the denim shield and the denim pocket. Oh, there's a bunch of them. There's some denim cloth. And there's some of the pockets that I tore off a pair of jeans. There's a couple that I made with different colors of denim. That came off a pair of jeans probably. These definitely did. So there's a good one there with the 1.5 inches. So I'll kind of keep that one here for now so I can refer to it. So here I have the original pocket off pair of jeans. I've got one of my sandwich bags that I filled with rice and then stapled it shut with 2 or 3 staples, 3 I think, 1, 2, 3. So I'll use that as my weight for now while I make my mark. And I am going to get the ruler as well because I want the line to be true. There. So like I said, I do have the door open, patio door open, balcony door open. Don't be alarmed if you hear fire trucks or cop cars or ambulances or whatever. Anyway, back to work. Enough about that. We're all safe and happy here. That is the way I like to put the ruler. I like to put it on the piece that I'm measuring off of, you know, as opposed just on the muslin that I'm going to cut. I mean, sometimes I cheat, but hopefully not that often. Now for ironing purposes, I'll just make a note of where the folds are going to be. Cool. So where I'm going to cut is ta, 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 and ta, and ta. That's going to be the folds. You know what, while I'm here I might as well just finish that up now that the jeans are out of the way. What else do I need for a fold? I need one there, one there, and there, and somewhere around there. And I have to go and plug the iron in. Hope I didn't miss too much there. Okay, first I'll iron this one, and all I'm doing is flattening it out. Making it look pretty for me. I think that looks real nice. I'll set that one aside, and this is the pocket lining And all I did there was fold it in half, and I'm just going to iron that just to flatten it out. There, that's that side. And I can set that aside with the pocket shield. So I just ironed the pocket shield, which was the smaller one, and the pocket lining, which was the bigger one. Now I have the watch pocket here. So first I'll iron it flat. Where's my pen? Okay, I'll do that one first. Ouch. Ouch. It's hot. There. So they're all ironed. I can work with that. All right, what I have to do here is I have to sew this top edge of the watch pocket, and that's all. I don't want to do the sides or the bottom, because when I do the sides and the bottom, it's when it's going on the shield. Let me move this out of here. I kind of locked up my threads there. Okay, there they are. And it's on straight stitch, 0 width, about 3.5 millimeter stitch length. I'll put the foot down. I'll isolate my threads from moving. So I'll go forward 2 or 3 stitches, and then I'll back stitch a bit to lock it, and do the same thing at the other end. Feels good to sew. It's snowing outside and it's sewing inside. You betcha. Is that all I want to do? You know what, maybe I will do a bottom line as well. Why not? There, so we lock that up. Where's my little clippers? So that's done. So I'll go back and press it again now with those other folds there, just to keep the folds, so when I do install them on the shield, it'll be straight and true. So let me turn that like that. There. So there's my watch pocket, my pocket shield, and the pocket lining, right? I think it's going to go something like that. But we'll see. We'll see if I did it right or wrong, or what I did. Can always change it. Okay, so what we're looking at is the front right pant leg. There's the watch pocket, right? There's the pocket. And what you see here is the pocket lining. I still have the pocket, the watch pocket, and the pocket shield over there. But I wanted to line it up because it's not exactly rectangular or square on this side. The fold is right here. Have I got you lined up there? I sort of do, don't I? So the fold is there, and the fold is there, and then we see right here there's a bit of a curve. So I've already drawn in that curve, and I'm going to cut it off right now. Just like that. That's close enough. That's good enough. Nobody will ever know. So that goes like that. And that's the pocket shield. That blue right there where my finger is on. Yeah, you can see. And that's the watch pocket. So it's going to go on like that. And I have to make sure that I leave it open so that I can put my hand in the pocket or the watch pocket, right? So what I can do right now is take it over to the serger and just serge along here and there. And I'm wondering if I should do that. Maybe I should put all this stuff on first. I think that's what would be the next order of operations. Yes, yes indeed. Here are the two books I purchased really recently. This one is called Sewing Dummies, and it's the 4th edition. I really haven't looked through it very much, but I do want to learn how to sew, and it's great that I can go on YouTube, which is the only social media that I really engage in or work on. And I know a lot of people are into all forms of social media, and that is great, but that's not for me. You know, truth be known, I'm not really a social media type. I just do this because I enjoy being on YouTube and making videos, having fun that way. And this book is, it's got a lot of pages. You know, it's 415 pages, but we're into the index here. And I think there's some plans, like to make some stuff. It talks about a lot of things, so it's really all-encompassing. And like it's got stuff here, decorating on demand, home decor, sewing, personalizing praiseworthy pillows, brighten up your bedroom, and then it gives you tips and how to alter your clothes for your custom shape and size. So it seems like it's very good. That book was about $30 Canadian, and this book by that author, Winifred Aldridge, it's the 5th edition. It's called Metric Pattern Cutting for Menswear. It's published by Wiley, and that is a textbook for fashion or design, sewing and fashion courses, and then it's priced like it because it was $63 Canadian, but it's altogether it's about about 197 pages. So that's pretty cool. It's not all that thick a book, but it's really dynamite. I looked through it last night a little bit because I just picked it up yesterday evening, and it is for guys, and it really does have a good range of things that you will learn. That is invaluable for me, how to measure my waist, and sitting down, you measure sitting down at the side of the hip kind of thing, the body rise. And it has a glossary, like it teaches you the sewing, the fashion industry, the sewing industry lingo. So altogether, I've spent, a couple $100 on books recently, but I just wanted to show those to you. And I still have some, I do have the watch pocket and the pocket shield and the pocket liner, and I'm getting ready to, after I finish my coffee and do some notes and stuff, a little bit of work, I'm going to sew the pocket shield onto the pocket lining and the watch pocket onto the pocket shield. So that'll be a nice bit of sewing. I haven't done very much sewing. The only sewing I've really done in the last week is with the serger, and I'm going to be able to use a serger again today as well as a sewing machine, because on the pocket lining the serger is used at the bottom and up the one side kind of thing, after the watch pocket and the pocket shield are on. Anyway, I'll get back to work having my coffee and doing my notes and stuff, but I wanted to show you those two books that I'm kind of excited about. Having said that about the books, I go to a few good channels. One is The Last Stitch, and that's Joanna Lundstrom from Sweden. And I did buy her How to Make Jeans book, but it's the online version, so I don't have a hard copy like this. And that was about 25 bucks Canadian, and even the hard copy would be about 25 bucks Canadian, so that I may end up getting the hard copy just for reference and for my library. I am a bookophile. I do like books. I spend a little bit of money every month on books. So the other couple of YouTube channels that I'd like to mention is a very talented artistic creator lady by the name of Rebecca Good. And she sews, she knits. She's also, I think she's a gifted artist, like painting with oil paints. And she did say that she's somewhat trained in classical oil painting, but that is a very worthwhile channel. She's out of the States, she is stateside. And then the other one that I want to mention after those two nice ladies is a fella in South Central Ontario, Cornelius Quiring. Q-U-I-R-I-N-G, Cornelius. And he is a really good sewer. He's been learning. I believe Rebecca Good is self-taught a lot as far as sewing and making clothes for herself and her family. So there's a few really worthwhile learning places for you to check out if that's what you would like to do. Remember that I do respect copyright. This is all kind of educational tutorial stuff that I do here. And so I mention all of these channels and their names with the utmost respect. So I want you to be able to, learn and have fun, just like I intend here. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. I'll be getting back to this video in a bit to do some more. So I'm going to start sewing the watch pocket onto the pocket shield, and I'm going to use I'm going to bar tack it to start with, and then I'll probably end up, and then I will end up bar tacking it down there as well. So I'm just lining up the needle, and when I bar tack it, I'm also going to reverse bar tack it. I'm also going to back tack it as well. So I'll go forward and then I'll go reverse. And it's not that long, so I'll do the whole thing back and forth. And I forget whether I mentioned it or not, but it's on zigzag. And the stitch length is 1 millimeter. And the stitch width is 1 millimeter as well. So that's where I want it to go, and now it's started, so now I'm going to reverse. And now I'm going to put it back on straight stitch. So I've got it set on straight stitch, and I'm going to make the stitch length 3.5 millimeters, and then I'm going to make the width 0. And I'm reminding myself that the idea here is to, now that I'm started, I don't want to have to stop sewing it until it's finished. It will be messy if I have to stop and start and cut it and all that stuff. So now I'm going to raise a foot and pivot to change direction. and again. Whoops, that was, oh yeah, that's right. I maybe want to go one more, so I'll just hand bomb it. Kind of right on the edge, so I'll angle it in a little bit. And now when I get to the top here, right here I want to bar tack it again on this side. So I'll turn it on to zigzag stitch, make it 1 millimeter long for the stitch and 1 millimeter wide for the zigzagging, and now I'll bar tack it. And then to reinforce it and add strength, I'll back bar tack it. And now I'll go back to straight stitch, make it about 3.5 millimeters long stitch and 0 stitch width. And now I have to go back down here, so I'm just going to stitch this way to get some distance. And I can remove these pins now because everything is solid here as far as position. I think I left it over on the other work table, that's what I did. So I want to go about almost a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/16 of a 1/4 inch from here to about here somewhere. And like I said, I'm on straight stitch and we're all set to go. And that looks like it's about a 1/4 inch. That's what it is. Obviously I'm doing double rows. going on there. Seems like an awful lot of thread. Got it. There, I'm happy with that. So now I can get the pocket lining and sew this onto the pocket lining, but I'm probably going to do a bit of serging on it first. Well, not probably, I am. So I am serging it, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm doing exactly the way it's supposed to be done, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. Because it is going to be straight stitched when it goes on the pants. So there, nothing else, that was fun. So I'll turn that off now. So now I'm going to do 2 rows of top stitching along this shield onto the lining. So I'm going to start and then back tack it to lock it. And I do have a couple of pins in to hold it stationary while I get it at least started. Alrighty, now keep the needle down, lift the foot and pivot, move it in a 3/16, quarter of an inch. I can get rid of those pins, I don't need them anymore. And there I can lock it up by back tacking. How'd I do with that? So it's a little wider when I turned and started up there, but that's okay. I mean, it's going to be hidden anyway, and it is secure. So I'm happy with that. Now I believe that I should do that edge there. And I'm wondering if I should even just serge it, but I won't. I'll just put a row of top stitching down. I think there's going to be some more stitching done, so I'm just going to put one row for now until I get more acquainted with what the order of the process is. I think that's fair enough. You know, if I'm doing pretty good for an amateur. For a pretty much first timer. Trim that. So that's what I did. One row of top stitching there. This is loose like it was on the original pair of jeans. And there's my watch pocket on. I wonder if I probably should have done that. But I still have to do a cutout here, so I'll wait for that. So that's where I'm going to stop there. This is what I've just been working on right now. And what I have here is the front right outside, and this is where the front right pocket with the watch pocket goes. And I have the original pair of jeans that I took apart underneath, and I felt the border of that hem on the pocket, and then I added a 1/2 inch using my seam allowance measurement device. And so I'm going to cut this piece off right now, and when I cut it off, I'm going to put it on this new one that I'm just making. There's the watch pocket, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to superimpose it on here and then put another line. And then I can cut whatever that is, that excess off, and this will be off. And then I should actually have a working, correct entrance to the pocket so that my hand can get in there. Because this has to go and this has to go so that it all works out. Of course, these are first-time adventures for me, and I'm really enjoying moving forward with it. I will tell you that it is a little bit intimidating at times because of the lack of knowledge and experience. And I have to be careful that I don't procrastinate. So I am forging ahead and learning as I go. So that's what's going on now. And I have a nice pair of 9-inch tailor's shears here. I can move these jeans out of the way for now, the original ones. And I'm not going to cut my ironing board cover because I'm going to lift this up in the air. Am I still with you here? Yes, I am. And so I'm going to cut there. I'm going to turn it around right now and start on the other end. And this is the piece that I need to use as my template for the new watch pocket. And that's going to be the folded over seam allowance like that. And that's going to be the folded over seam allowance like that. So now I'm coming over here and I'm going to get my fabric pen, my fabric marker. And I'm going to make some marks. I'll move that out of the way. I don't really need that, but I'm going to keep that as a possible future template on the other pairs that I have to do still. And where'd my ruler is over at my other work table. But even with all my learning sources on YouTube and my books and that, I still have to learn how to think about this stuff. You know, because once you get your nose out of the book and off the TV, you kind of have to learn how to think about this stuff. For me, anyway. So there we go. And what do I want to do with that? I want to cut that one off. There we go. And I'll save that in case I need it for a template or a measuring device or whatever. So now I'm going to have to fold that over and stitch it, but it's going to be basically something like that. And that's where my hand is going to go into the pocket, which is right there, because this is going to be the pocket bag, right? It's going to be sewn at the bottom and along the side, onto the side of the jeans. So that's what I'm working on now. I'll have to plug in my iron. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice 2 or 3 along here to make folding this piece of cloth a little easier. Like that. When the iron is ready, it's heated up and ready to do some service here. So I'll start with that a little bit first. I'll get that one next. I'll fold that one over. You know what? I can fold them all over just right like that right now. Now that I'm working with this piece of pant leg, I can take that right off actually. I'll just stick it up there in case they do need it, but I don't think I will. And I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and what do I want to do? Is that what I want to do? I'm going to have to think about that for a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this together so that this part goes inside this seam allowance, and then that's what I'm going to stitch together. And at that point, the front right pant leg will be sewn onto the pocket lining of the front right pocket. Indeed. So I'm just trying to think how to position this to be able to see how I'm going to do that. I just want to make sure I got the camera centered correctly. I think I'm pretty close there. That's the view I want. So I'll open that up for now, just like that. What did I do there? But you know, that's not right. It has to go like that. I think I'm on the right track. If I'm not, what will that? What will I have to do? I'll have to do it again. If I'm wrong, I'll have to redo it, figure it out and redo it. But for now, that's what I'm going to do, because I think I'm on the right track there. Because the learning is in the doing, right? Anyway, I'm going to pin this together, and I'll show it to you once I have it pinned together. Okay, so I've got it pinned. Now, you see the pins in there, and they don't have plastic heads. They're just the little flat steel heads that pins without the plastic come with. And I already realize that I'm going to iron over these, and it will leave little tiny scratch marks on the bottom of the iron, on the sole plate, on the hot plate. But I have two more irons. I have one brand new in the box in the closet, and I'm not going to rub it a whole lot. It's more just try and get that crease firmed up. You can hear the steam going in there. Fair enough. And then what I'm going to have to do is that. So that's what I'm going to sew. And I'm going to put two, where are we here? Let me not get lost visually. So that's what I'm going to have to sew. And I'm going to put two beads of thread. One right edge stitching on the fold and then one about 3/16 of an inch on the inside there. So this is getting pretty exciting already. And I might have to pin this along here just to keep it stable and secure while I do all that. While I do that. So what I've done is I brought the jeans in, the original jeans, and I'm checking to make sure that my seams are the same as theirs. And what I'm checking is to make sure this and that are roughly in the same place when I do that. And that this hem here, that seam allowance there, is roughly in line with that one. And the pocket, the watch pocket, is roughly in line with that. And that all kind of matches up to a point. There, so I've put some pins, 1, 2, 3, and then a couple over here to keep that all together and in the same position while I take this over to the sewing machine and sew that seam allowance right there. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I can tell you right now that this is going to be a slow process. I will not be putting the pedal to the metal in any way, shape, or form. I'll get my pin container. I'll start with this first little one just to start the stitch and get it locked in. Beautiful. I'll go forward a couple, maybe 3, and then back tack a bit, and that'll lock it in. Once I get this first line of thread down, then that seam, that fold will be held in place. Now I am going to pivot it and turn it, but I did lock it in anyway. I'm going to pivot it again, turn it again. Now I'm going to lock it before I pivot it and finish it off. So that's that one done. Where's the one at the other end? Oh, I turned it, I pivoted it at the other end, so there's a little bit of a mess there. Oh well, c'est la vie. So I've got that done. We'll take a better look in a second. Now this is a little bit tough to see, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew right there to hold that seam allowance down on the top edge of that pocket bag, just to keep it in place for now. Now, am I going to do one at the bottom as well? We'll see. So cut those threads off. And now I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to just tack it in just to keep it stationary, just like I did up top there. I think I want to go that way. And back tack it. Let's see how I did there. Good enough. So now I'm just going to tack a little further down with the pant leg and the side of that pocket just for about a couple of inches. When I put the pants together later, I might have to take it out and do it again. Here we go. So I'm going to go right down here to my finger and thumb. Right like that. So that's what I've done. Here, let me cut that off too. So now the pocket and the edge of the pant leg is together, and from there on in the pocket starts to turn, the pocket bag starts to turn inward a little bit. So all I'm going to do now is put a bit of thread there and have that stay together. So now I'm going to take those other two pins with the plastic heads out of there. And so there we can see pretty much that I got the seam allowance done, and then I've locked it in down here and up here. And this is what it looks like on the other side. I did down to here, from here to here. Whoopsie daisy, turn that off. So that's good, that'll stay in position. And then I put some up there, and that'll stay in position. So now that'll all stay in place while I do the zipper and put the two front legs together. Maybe not in this video, but maybe. I already kind of signed off once saying I was going to end the video, so I'll have to edit that out now because I've gone ahead and went further than I thought I was able to. So it's all working out quite well. Okay, so I'm going to give it a quick press. I can see that there is a little bit of, it's not quite as flat as it should be, but it's there and I can work with that. And then as we look over here, we see the zipper, which I haven't connected to this side yet, but that will get done. That is the start of the crotch seam right there, and that will be going down there, so that won't be flapped over like that. So I'm just going to give this top part a quick press, and it is getting late now, and it's still snowing here in downtown Montreal. We're getting a bit, but anyway, thanks for viewing. I hope this has been helpful to you, and a little bit of entertainment if nothing else, and we'll chat soon, and I will sign off for now. Adios amigos. You'll see me do a little bit of ironing quickly, a little bit of pressing. I love this iron. There, now I'll get that part that I just did, that pocket that I just made. Now these front legs were, and the zipper, were from a set that I'm, like a pair. I put these together. I put the zipper on in one of the previous videos. If you've been watching long, you would have recalled that, remembered that. So there we are. The next video, I will be doing that to put those together, and I will also be putting the back legs together as well. So I don't know at the beginning of the next video whether I'll start with that or finish with that, but that's my intention for the next vid. And I'm not going to wait too many days to get the next one out. I'm kind of on a roll, and I want to get this done so that I can start another pair. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate that you come here, and by all means, if you're inclined, subscribe and like, and if you want to leave a comment, that's fine. That would be great too. But thank you very much to all of you. Ciao for now.